Looks like we have a microphone going.
Ho, ho, ho.
What do you know?
Twitch will add 10% to every cheer over 300 bits.
Wow.
Do. Wait, it's time to go live.
Uh-huh.
It's still out of the camera.
I'm still out of the camera, yeah.
It doesn't go any more than that without falling off the table.
Well, happy holidays, everyone.
Gold Yule.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Happy Wintervale for World of Warcraft players.
Yes, indeed. It has started for those that play.
Ho, 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 asks OSU Brainiac. How's it going?
It is going well.
Lori and I decided to make another impromptu visit to Disneyland on Wednesday, so that was fun.
We could take Christmas pictures this time.
Christmas lights. I took some cell phone pictures, which did not come out, but Lori got some really nice ones with her camera.
So the truth is that it is great to go to Disneyland during the Halloween season because they have so many decorations up everywhere around. And Christmas time, it's more laid back, and the magic starts at night when all the lights come on and the cameras don't work anymore unless you got a cell phone that's really good.
But for just seeing beautiful lights and stuff, the nighttime at Disneyland is wonderful.
It is very magical. So that's your Disneyland
wonderful in the winter.
Report. Yes.
Let's see.
We are live. Yes. Yay.
I'm going to get that link.
You got to get the link to what we are. Okay, there we go.
Boom.
So, yes, hello everyone. Welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. I hope you had a great Hanukkah time.
Only touch Terry does this for me.
Okay.
There we go.
Yes, it doesn't matter whether you celebrate Hanukkah or not. That Hanukkah season should be been a great one for you, you know?
And what about Kwanzaa? And
Kwanzaa's to come.
What about Diwali?
Diwali, what was the dates on Diwali?
I don't remember.
I don't either. But have a great Diwali, whether or not you celebrate.
I thought it was really nice that the clubhouse at our senior community has major Hanukkah and Kwanzaa displays in the main room.
So that was cool.
And you have a Christmas tree and sleigh and stuff on the stage. So it's kind of ecumenical.
Yes, that's it. That's what it's called. But no satanic temple.
No, the Satanic Temple did not offer to put in an installation.
No.
And I don't know if this is the right time of year for the celebration anyway.
Well, no, but, you know.
Every time is the right time of year for the Satanic Temple.
It is, of course. Every day is a holiday, yes. And,
of course, the Aunt LaVey's version of Satanism, the key word was indulgence. So as long as you're indulging and
having a great
taking care of yourself, then every time of year is good.
There. Happy
Hanukkah,
yes.
Says Skip OSX.
Yes. We just missed it. It just went over yesterday, I think. Right. It was the last of it, Thursday night.
I don't know the dates.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you researched that.
I did. Well, I asked, you know. That's a research, I guess.
Hanukkah 2023, 7th through the 15th. Yep. Correct.
So the candles have been lit. Let us all celebrate.
It is the year 5784 in the Hebrew calendar.
Good. So that's their new year?
Yeah.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
It's officially a new year.
It's a new year. It's 5785 in Hebrew calendar, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it really works that way, but it might be.
And then we'll have a happy new year coming up. So it's definitely a holiday season, no matter who you are. And even if you don't celebrate, well, there's no excuse not to have a good time anyway.
Actually, Rosh Hashanah, they say, is the new year.
Okay.
Which is in September.
I wondered. That's usually what we think. But I've got a bird. We've got a bird in the courtyard.
My father was technically Jewish, although he sort of repudiated that when he went to college. He was an atheist. Well, actually, he was a Buddhist at the end of his life.
Yeah. So
he had his own branch of Zen Buddhism.
Yeah. And can't forget the goblin holidays like Nabbleglock. Ah, yes.
Okay. Well,
or, Hogsfather.
Hogsfather, yeah. Hogswatch.
Hogswatch, yes.
Hogswatch and Terry Pratchett.
We should all celebrate, yes.
That's a pretty good one with the Hogfather.
Mm-hmm.
There's a film called The Hogfather, which is actually pretty well done.
Yes, it is. It's a good interpretation. But the books are all much more fun than any interpretation so far.
Yes, the movies take them all so seriously. But yes, definitely read Terry Pratchett. If you haven't read Terry Pratchett's Discworld books, then you are missing out.
Mm-hmm. Seriously. So, at any rate, I hope you all are having a good time. It is that season to have good times, no matter what. And we've got some plans for our Christmas. We're going over to see our son.
Yes.
And his family.
Going up to the San Francisco Bay Area, to Oakland in specific.
Looks like it'll be a rainy week, but oh well. Syl Ziegler says, hello, happy holidays all. Yes, so we'll get to do some photographing and things in the Bay Area, which is always a delight for photography. It's so much going on there.
Except when it's all
even then overcast. It'll be if you go to the right places, that overcast will just make your shot. It won't be exactly the right shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, but oh well. So let's see what else is going on. As you said, Wintervale just started in World of Warcraft, so go to World of Warcraft and get
haven't even looked at it yet, but
your presents will be around the tree someday.
On the 25th.
Yes, on the 25th.
But on the rest of the time, you can go into dungeons, and some of the dungeon bosses are wearing Wintervale hats.
So you can
suspiciously similar to elf hats or Santa Claus hats.
Yes, you could earn that, or you can go kill the Grinch.
The Grinch.
The Grinch.
The abominable Grinch.
Photography down by the bay. Is that where the watermelons grow?
Is that a homemade
It
mug?
Is not mine, but it is handmade.
It is handmade,
I
but not by
bought that
Lori.
from a craft show because I just loved the size. It was perfect.
And I have a Kwanzaa appropriate mug that we got somewhere other, and it was probably just store bought. But
I have made at least 24 mugs, but I have not made the one that is the right mug yet. I mean, mugs have to be the perfect balance of weight and size.
The Platonic mug.
The Platonic mug. I am working to get the Platonic mug. So, and it's not that I haven't tried. Yes.
Yeah, I've over the course of a long life, you eventually start coming up with your Platonic ideals for different things. So, the Platonic ideal for flan, I had at a Cuban restaurant in Miami when I was a teenager, and it took me years and years to find ones as good. There are a few that I've had that are almost as good or as good in California, but they're hard to find. A lot of times you get almost as good flan. A mediocre flan is still pretty good. We do homemade custard also. Florida's great Cuban food. Miami, we were told, is the correct pronunciation for Miami. Miami.
Miami.
And Chantra says says hi everyone.
Yeah. All right. These are a couple of
Lori has brought a couple of
of my mugs to say this is where I'm getting there.
This is where Lori is starting to get there.
It's almost right. Oh, thank you very much, Aziza. Yes.
Thank you. New update subscription. So this is one of Lori's mugs. The trick is to get just the right handle, and they're never quite right. They're too big or too small, and then you want it to be strong but not too heavy.
And this one is kind of fun.
And large.
Yes, and large enough to take my tea.
This one, all these are right for her hand and not really quite right for mine.
Yeah, well, we're working on it.
This is one, right? What glazes did you use for this one?
Oh, that has, no. That's
she has a heart and an LAC on the bottom.
Yes. All right. If you wanted to really know what it is, it's probably obsidian, then covered with smoky merlot, covered with maybe seaweed.
Seaweed?
Yeah,
Really?
I know. Seaweed gives you that weird blue.
What about
It's
the other
either
one?
that or that thing. Oh, that's even more interesting. It's got mulberry at the bottom. It has oh my gosh.
This is
textured
actually, in
tur-
real life, this is a little more green than it's showing up on the screen. It's looking blue, but it's really more of a green.
Yeah, it's got a lot of green tones to it. So texture
And
turquoise, honey flux.
inside, does that have oatmeal?
No, it's a honey flux. So,
Honey flux, okay.
but oatmeal would do something similar.
Yeah.
So yes, everything is the thing I love about pottery is that you don't just take glaze and put it on it. You really are doing an artistic judgment call on how much glaze you need and what colors you
And
want
the way they drip and the combination, how thick you put them on, all makes a difference.
And they never turn out the way you expect. That's the other thing. You cannot be a perfectionist and do ceramic art.
Gavin Stelhart is a fan of green, though he might be biased because he's a goblin.
Well, okay, yeah.
Green is good.
Green is good. And yes, and goblin green is always...
Sybil likes the Preston hearts.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were there hearts on the
There
outside
were
or just
hearts
on the
on
bottom?
this one. The hearts on this one. See,
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's got hearts. You can't see the texture along the sides, but there were heart things coming down here in lines below those things. It was a stamp. And then, of course, it's got a heart on the thumb holder. And the heart at the base. So
each one is unique, so work on the shape. You have to build the handle in a way that it's really totally one piece with the mug so that it doesn't break. You got to get a strong
needs to be
connection.
one with the mug.
One with the mug.
Yeah.
The handle must be one with the mug.
And this is my latest present, well, one of my later presents to Corey. His cell phone holder. There. It's a cell phone holder. And you can hold it either way. It's kind of a nice, comforting design. And
I'm still using an iPhone 8 one of these days.
It's designed for Halloween, of course, but, you know.
One of these days I may get a little more with the times. I'm an operating system behind.
Yep. Several, isn't it?
No, I'm on iOS 16. The new one is 17.
Oh, okay, well, then you're not
the
that far
phone is
behind.
15, so it's all very confusing.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. How long have I been into ceramics? I was into ceramics when I was, probably...
It's tall.
Yeah. I used to do things with Play-Doh, and I would make figurines out of Play-Doh, and then the plastic stuff, the plastic things, and then some ceramics.
Did you do anything in high school or not until college?
I didn't take a ceramics course in college. I didn't take a ceramics course in elementary school, although I did have the opportunity to make a couple things when I was very young.
Oh.
I know that when I was the first week or so that I joined Girl Scouts Brownies, we made an ashtray, and I made an ashtray for my grandmother out of clay, and it got fired.
Lori was a little baby sitting on her mother's knee. She picked up that clay and a turning wheel said, "Pottery's gonna be the death of me, Lord, Lord," said, "Pottery's gonna be the life of me."
Well, that would be worth.
That'd be better.
I did have a small wheel, a toy wheel, which did not do very good, and so therefore to this day I still can't wheel throw things. I have to do it by hand. But then I never, after we left Sunnyvale, so that was 1986 or so, 1987.
Yeah, well, we went to Sierra in 88.
Okay.
So
maybe 88.
So, well, we moved to San Jose first.
Okay, yeah. So when we were in Sunnyvale, I actually had access to ceramics, and I was doing a little bit then, and I did a little bit.
That would have been early to mid 80s.
I did more ceramics when I was working on the Indian reservation before that time, because I had the art teacher on the Indian reservation also taught community college, and he did ceramics at the community college. And so therefore, for once in my life, I had access to a real kiln, a real making your own glazes and all that sort of thing. So I really learned ceramics then as opposed to did things. So now, 2 years ago, there's a ceramic place here at this complex. They have a kiln and a workshop there, which doesn't teach, but again, they let me do whatever I want, and so I'm happy. Yeah.
And I let her do most of what she wants.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So she has a little. We have a courtyard that has Lori has mostly filled up with plants, but there's a little. Well, all right. The ping pong table that my mom used has been rededicated to a work table for ceramics, and then Lori has a little side table, and she does a lot of her work there, and then takes it over to the
Yeah, I do.
community center to fire it.
Yep. But that's that.
Fire it, so fire it.
So what are your plans for the holidays? I hope you have some good times coming up. We will be having another live stream in 2 weeks, which is the 30th.
30th. Okay, that'll be our New Year's Eve-ish.
It'll be our New Year's Eve.
Lots
of
the
food.
The eve of New Year's Eve.
Traveling to Virginia to see the family. Oh, that'll be fun.
Okay, good.
Hope the weather is good. You never
I
know.
actually lived in Virginia when I was about 5 years old or so, 4 or 5, and I was up in northern Virginia, Vienna, Virginia, which is near Washington, D.C.
Wellsburg, West Virginia. I was in Virginia.
Lori was in Wellsburg, yes.
Well, that was West Virginia.
West
so I'm
Virginia.
trying to think where we're in
Were you
Virginia.
in Virginia?
We were near the bridge, the Woodbridge.
Woodbridge.
Woodbridge, Virginia. Yes, that
There
was
you go.
it.
So we have Virginia connections.
Oh, getting my daughters ready to see Santa. That'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I hope they enjoy it. I hope they're in an age where they'll enjoy it rather than think this is awful.
Can you read Hello Lovelies like the Wicked Witch of the West?
I don't remember the Wicked Witch of the West ever using Hello Lovelies.
Hello. No? No witches?
No, well,
You can do a Wicked Witch.
I know, but they don't use that term.
All right.
And,
Cute sweater says ribbons.
Retro Rents is New Year's Eve birthday. That'll be, well, that's better than if you're Christian to be a Catholic or a Christian and have a 25th birthday because December 25th because you have Christmas basically.
Well, Lori just had a birthday less than a week ago, so
Yeah.
So it's Lori's birthday week.
Yes.
And we decided you are 18 now.
Okay. I'm glad you figured that out.
So we're both 18.
I took my dad to see Wonka.
Wonka!
Was a sweet, playful movie. I'm
Oh,
glad
good,
you heard it. It
good.
looked good. I was
thought
surprised.
I saw a review that was kind of negative, but some people just
Okay,
know the spirit,
and
the
Gavin
candy spirit.
Gavin says, I don't think it'll fall on a holiday, but I'll likely finish streaming Quest for Glory 1 on Friday. Oh, that's great.
All right, what's your Twitch channel called, Gavin?
The kids love it. They're so exciting as a parent to see them counting. Oh, happy birthday, Lori. Thank you. You can drive now. Yes. Actually, I could drive at 16, I think, then.
Oh, here it is. Gavin
I
Stouthart.
didn't, but I could. Oh, that's cute. I like that. I like your.
Okay, we both linked it. I wasn't sure if his link would work, so.
Okay, fine. But you could show that page because who did your artwork? I really like your portrait there. Yeah. Yeah. Show desktop.
Show desktop. Oh, okay.
There it is.
Gavin
Look at
Stouthart.
Look at that cute goblin. Dang.
One good-looking goblin.
Yep. Okay.
Gavin Games.
Silent Art. Jack did the art. Well, congratulations to Silent Jack. Ooh, that's a
These are
great
categories.
cover. I like
Nino
that. Yeah.
Cooney. You like that one?
I like the cover on that.
Oh, okay.
Oh well. Yeah.
Yeah, Quest for Glory 1. That was a pretty good game, if I remember.
Maybe. I heard it was buggy. I think everything is buggy. I love seeing people play Quest for Glory. Oh, so do I, actually. He's on Twitch. Okay.
We're on Twitch, too.
Well, thank you. This may
We're on
even
Twitch
push
here
me
at
to affiliate. Yes.
Twitch.tv/Transsolar Games.
But ours is not as interesting, and we dare not put it up there because we'll probably...
Well, I will momentarily.
Okay.
We'll have a little
We'll have a little feedback.
Controller games, Transsolar games. Well, if nothing has some delays, I'll look at all that. Click to unmute. We have 20 viewers. It says this doesn't show our number of followers.
Well,
so I don't know how many followers we have.
Oh well.
But I'm sure there are some.
We have some. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Well, we're.
Well, good luck to you.
Yes. Good luck. I see you're sharing this page. This is the.
Oh yes,
the
this is the Yule. It was supposed to be Yule-Time Tidings, but I can never quite remember. Yule-Tide Tidings, I did, and I took just some of our decorations. You should all go there. Let's see. Here's this particular post. I will link, but just Patreon. Oh, that's interesting. So that doesn't show our channel, but our channel is Corey Laurie Cole, I believe. Yeah, that Laurie. Corey, I think it's Corey Laurie Cole. I could probably find out by going back arrow.
Can you?
Yep. Here's our general Twitch or Patreon channel. And you should all go there because most of the content there is free because
we don't care.
Because we like to have people see it.
Yep.
Anyway, so I just took my cell phone and took some quick. This is terrible lighting, but here's our holiday tree that Lori put together with decorations, most of which are significant to our games or stuff in our lives. The Buddha is my mom's. The quirk is from our first Kickstarter campaign for Hero U. And
there are all sorts of little fuzzy meeps there that.
Yeah, the tiny little fuzzy meeps that Roberta Vaughn made when she was down with us visiting.
When we were in Awani, we made some meeps.
There's a blue one hiding in here.
Yeah, they're all hiding. I should get a hat for my meep. They work fine, yes.
Yeah.
The other ones work fine as this.
I was thinking I should wear it, but I wasn't sure if it would go with my shirt.
Yes, he needs to be color coordinated.
All right, so here's one of Lori's little ornaments for the Hero's Tale Inn in Spielberg, and we have two of these ones from different artists, but maybe two different versions for the same artist. That's Heftome.
Yes, that's Jack.
Jack Lance?
Jack Lance's painting.
Jack Lance painted Heftome on a glass ornament.
I have about 3 of his ornaments.
Yeah, we have another one on the other side of the tree that I didn't photo here. Here's the Hero University by J.P. Selwood up on a hill near...
Yeah, those were available last year, but unfortunately...
Cafe Press is not going to work. There is a link to our Cafe Press page here, but most of the ornaments are no longer available on it.
They just don't. They are just not on.
Reindeer ears for the meep, yes.
Yes, there we go. We'll go back to the webcam to show him off, but I can't see the webcam control.
We can click on webcam.
I was trying to, but I couldn't see it because it was blocked by a meep.
He's got Christmas
and
socks.
Yes.
Christmas socks, warm, fuzzy.
You too can go over to your local Dollar Tree or dollar store.
And look, it's animated.
And for $3, you can have your meep decorated for the holidays to go under your tree.
It's a genuine animatronic meep that will do all sorts of expressions if you...
as long as it doesn't change.
Squeeze them the right way. Ha! Don't squeeze the meep.
Yeah. Well,
don't shake the meep.
Yeah, we could shake it, but, I don't care.
So back here on the desktop, we had our Patreon thing. And this was an ornament that Lori made back in 2019 that for... Summer Days, that shows the two characters that were originally going to both be in the game, Tilly on the left and Feo on the right, and we decided that as the game got more and more ambitious to split that into two visual novels.
So we have Tilly out. Tilly's in Steam right now, and we're working on a Feo, although we would have got, if we had released this year, it would have had a totally different art style than what we're going with now. We have made it a little more sophisticated.
Yeah, JP keeps getting better and better.
Yep. And
my page.
We're, what was I going to say about,
Season's greetings. I had an article about that too.
You did.
So mostly I blog about this stream.
Yes.
And so I can't see, Silent Jack is on Twitter, not Twitch.
Okay. But Twitter, alas, is dead. There is no Twitter. It is an X-Twitter.
Indeed. We canceled our Twitter account sometime before it became an X.
Yes.
We did not wish to participate in abominations.
Poor things.
Sucks.
My daughter Mia still talks months later about the day we were watching you stream and we both said goodnight when she had to hit the hay. So I'm just relaying a long-winded hi from me. Hi, we'll say hi back.
Hi to Mia.
Yeah, huh? I'd like to split down the middle and call it X Twitter. Yes, exactly. That works perfectly well. Yes.
But not yet excellent.
Not yet excellent. That's it.
No.
Or extinct. Not yet extinct.
But moving that way.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, well. I probably said goodnight because we were tired.
It was good night because she was going to bed, not because we were going to bed.
I was going to say, we don't usually go to bed right after the stream.
No.
I get about a half hour to wind down after the stream before I do a WoW rating.
Yes, which is always relaxing and soporific. Yes, that's it.
My guild has completed the normal raid on Farak, the Underers or whatever, the fire primalist, and we're going to be starting in on the heroic version. We've actually defeated a few of the heroic bosses. And my other guild, for which I am not worthy to play, is
unworthy.
I actually probably could at this point, but it conflicts with the one I do all the time. Is actually working on heroic Farak. So.
The X is for executive meddling.
Oh, there we go.
Exactly, yeah. Making and relaxing, yeah.
Maxing and relaxing.
We're not worthy. Yeah. Yes. Wayne and Garth, okay.
So, everybody have a completely excellent holiday season.
That's, yes, indeed. That's kind of a different one.
Bill and Ted.
That's Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted was, that they were...
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then it was Bogus Adventure was the second one.
Bogus Adventure, something like that. But,
all right, well, I'm out of things to say. Should we stop early?
No, I think we should talk about holidays.
Holidays.
Yes. Oh, my God, Corey, that mug is amazing.
Thank you. This one here?
Bogus Journey, yeah.
Yeah, Lori got that for me somewhere. It has a little chip out of it.
Your mother's.
Oh, this is my mother's. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
She had two of them. I don't know what happened to the other one.
I think the other one broke.
I think it did, but they're
this one has a chip out of the bottom.
Yeah. Let's see.
So holidays in our games.
Holidays in our games, which is
we have, of course, in Hero You Road to Redemption, a major Days of the Dead celebration. We didn't call it Dias. We call it. Or is it Nights? It's Nights of the Dead.
Nights of the Dead.
Noctes de Mortuis.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And then they have Yule, which you would, if we ever get to do the Wizard's Way, they'll be celebrating the Yule in the center of that game, because it is that set in the wintertime. We have the Harvest Festival.
And when we do that, we'll be sure to log it.
We'll log it.
We'll log the Yule.
Yes, we'll log the Yule.
But,
Retro says, all right, y'all have a lovely night and a very happy holidays. Thank you very much, Retro.
You too.
Bye-bye, you.
And good night to Mia.
And, well, all right, have fun, Mia. Yes. David says, if we run Heroes Quest EGA, Quest for Glory 2 AGD, and the first 4 games are all in Scum VM rather than the DOS box, I think we can beat this full series in 40 minutes now. Wow.
There was a discussion once upon a time on terminology on what people do with games. You can beat the game, you can win the game, you can complete it. There's about 5 different terms for what you do with the game, and all has to do with whether you are against the game or you are with the game, or exploring, or playing to conquer. And so on, and so we've never been
playing the conquer game.
Yeah, so we're not a big fan of beating a game, but you can
please don't beat our game.
complete the game.
Yeah. Let's see. An Asian Way says, would it take place while with most student and faculty are out on Yule vacation? Yule vacation, ha! They would like to have a Yule vacation. I don't know of a student.
They work very hard in Yule-Time.
Yeah.
So, David, what kind of times do people have in Quest for Glory 5?
It's possible to glitch past the goons in Borgov Castle to get into the dungeon. Yes.
Yeah, we just saw that recently.
And
that tea is doing the
Kevin
end.
says, I like to find all the content in a game. I do too. I'm a very much what's going on here.
Yeah, we like to find the secrets, and then I'll tell her about them as she's watching a TV show and saying, I'm watching my show!
Yeah, well, Quest for Glory 5 is somewhere around 5 minutes.
If we kill Bruno off screen.
I see. Okay.
Well.
That's impressive. Wow.
There's a lot of content in Quest for Glory 5, so that's sort of closer to 40 minutes if you don't. Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Huh.
I recently learned that Quest for Glory 5 was supposed to have expansion
40
packs.
minutes is reasonable for a speedrun of a game.
Is probably relative. It wasn't supposed to.
We discussed them with management.
We really seriously had discussions with it.
The problem we ran into was, what was our exec's name at that point?
Yes, Joseph Alexander. Craig Alexander.
Craig Alexander said the problem is that he had statistics on the sales of expansion packs, and that basically it was that you could generally expect an expansion pack to sell about, I think it was 1/3 of the numbers, it was somewhere between 1/10 and 1/3 of the numbers of the original game. So the question was, how much content could we put onto an expansion pack and have a budget that was like 1/4 of the original game's budget? And, we couldn't see how to do it.
Well, no, that wasn't just it. That was the one thing. If we reused all the art things and mostly set it in that, we could get away with part of it. But the real kicker was finding out from our lead programmer that it wasn't that expandable, that the code was really glitchy and
was really specific to what we had.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Yeah, at one point I looked at licensing the Ultima Underworld engine from Looking Glass Software, I think they were called at the time. Later changed to Blue Sky Productions or something like that. But they were the people that did Ultima Underworld for Origin. And I had wanted to do a dungeon crawl game using their engine, and got in touch with one of the leads, and he said, don't use our engine. Don't know how much he wanted this public, but he said basically it is complete spaghetti code. Any slightest touch in the wrong place will cause the whole thing to unravel.
Yep, exactly.
And unfortunately, that's true of an awful lot of code.
Ribbons of Distinction says, I don't know if we still use the word, but my play style is long play. If a game signposts me to go right, I go left first. There, you're called Contrarian, is what you
Contrarian, yes.
Yes.
And we had many players in our D&D games who were doing that you would, set up a whole scenario around the, this elaborately detailed, complex and dungeon.
Give them
and
5 ways for them to go through the dungeon.
And they'll never even get to the dungeon because they'll role play in town for the entire session.
Or they'll figure out another way.
Or they'll decide they want to go down to the swamp in the other direction that you have put 5 minutes into detailing.
Yeah.
You gave it a name on the map, and that was about it.
Right.
So, yeah. And that's why computer dungeon masters have it easier, because we know exactly where we'll let the players go.
Yeah.
Within limits, unless the speedrunners find glitches.
Yep. Was this before the advent of complete packs, I assume? Yes, it was just at the start where there was things called expansion packs, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so, for instance, Wing Commander, our friend Ellen Guan Beeman worked on one of the expansion packs for Wing Commander.
expansion packs or sequels?
That was an expansion pack, I thought.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think there was.
I think she worked on an expansion pack.
I didn't think there were ones. But I don't know.
Pretty sure.
All right. Let's see. I live to savor games and look at all the ridiculous details. Well, yeah, and when I'm playing World of Warcraft, I'm an altaholic. I mean, I have.
We're about 50 or 100 characters.
Well, I have 50 characters, but I'm not playing all
maybe
of
10
those.
or 20 that we play regularly.
Yeah. Most people, if they're normal or they're raiders or anything, only have 1 or 2 characters.
Maybe 3, yeah.
Maybe 3, but I have 15, I think, current to the current expansion, and so therefore.
Or I know people that have a paladin tank, a death knight tank, and a monk tank.
I see.
They always play the same role, but they have different characters just in case they need specific abilities.
Yeah. And the problem is when you're playing that is trying to find something new when you're playing the same kind of adventure area as the previous ones. So it's always a trick to see what was going on. Okay, there.
So Wing Commander 1984, Wing Commander 1990, Wing Commander Prophecy 97, Wing Commander Privateer, Armada Academy,
Okay.
Wing Commander Series.
Okay.
I don't think that's complete.
Okay.
Yep. There we go.
There's it all. Okay.
Various bundles.
Wow. They had
Wing
enough.
Commander 2 Deluxe Edition, Wing Commander 2 Vengeance of the Karathi, Commander 3 Heart of the Tiger for the price.
They had a lot of wing commanders. I didn't realize they had that
they
many.
don't really look like expansion packs. They were
No.
more sequels, so
They
you're probably
were,
right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Was there a Flight Commander also or something?
I don't-
Anyway, so stuff.
Yeah. But does WoW allow Goblin Paladins?
They're talking about expanding all classes to all races.
Yes. So currently, no. Goblins can't be Paladins. However,
originally, in fact, that the only Paladins were humans.
Yes.
And they were the Alliance human race, which meant the Horde had no Paladins.
Right. Horde weren't allowed that.
Horde had shamans, and Alliance had no shamans.
So they were trying to balance the system, and this is a game decision that they made. They were balancing decision by having separate but equal things. The shaman had different abilities entirely from the paladin, and the paladin, was unique unto itself. And so the theory was that they would counterbalance each other. But,
and only certain races had could be druids.
yep.
Trying to think, what can a goblin be? A goblin can be a mage.
Yes, I have a goblin mage.
Can a goblin be a warrior?
Goblins
Probably.
can be warriors.
I think anybody can be a warrior.
Then the Draenei suddenly became pretty. I will argue that the male night elf was always the ugliest to begin with, and they've become much better looking over the years.
Goblin race.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, classes for Goblin: Death Knight, Hunter, Mage.
They couldn't have been Death Knight
And not at the
originally.
beginning,
Yes. No.
So originally it would have been Hunter, Mage, Priest, Rogue, and Warlock and Warrior.
No, Shaman, because by that time they let you play a goblin. They had shamans.
Oh, okay. Of course, goblins weren't. Actually, no. Originally, you couldn't play a goblin at all.
Right. Yes. Goblins came in the third, fourth of.
They came in Cataclysm.
Cataclysm. Okay, so the third expansion.
All right. So there was original Warcraft. There was the Burning Crusade. There was the Wrath of the Lich King.
Yes.
I think Cataclysm was next.
I think so.
So probably the third expansion or the fourth edition.
Yeah. Pandaria? Yeah, well, Pandaria was...
That came in the midst of Pandaria, which is, I think, the fifth expansion.
Well, goblins came in Cataclysm.
Right.
Because goblins have an incredibly entertaining origin area. And, and they're awfully prejudiced against goblins, I have to say, because they characterize goblins as Ferengi, effectively, if you remember the things. And
Ferengi from Star Trek.
And they're
Next Generation.
They're polluting, and they're gadgeteers, and they love to bomb and blow things up.
And they always want to bargain and get the best deal.
Right. Yes. So you have those two things put together, and trade princes.
So they have the racial ability, best deals anywhere, always receive the best possible gold discount, regardless of faction.
Mm-hmm. Goblins have the one place in the world of Warcraft strapped onto a powder keg and running at something. Yeah, well, maybe I could show them that goblins could be nice and selfless. Yes, indeed.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
We've seen paladins in PvP that don't play anything like a D&D paladin do.
No.
So they're basically just power gamers. So
right.
If there could be power gaming paladins, then there could be nice and selfless goblins.
Right. I mean.
But you're not the norm.
Well, that was always our thing, is to break the stereotypes in our games and not just to have, first on playing D&D. The idea that people had strict alignments, that these alignments were immutable, and characters and monsters and things would have that, classification of an alignment, bugged me. I don't like the fact that you just stereotype an entire species, and we've always played multiple different kinds of characters.
Was Jim's character a goblin or a gnome?
Which one? There was
like the storekeeper guy.
The ruler of all the.
Yeah.
He was a gnome.
Asian Way says Pathfinder has been doing great things with goblins. I was reading recently about Wizard of the Coast just had some major layoffs, including in the, or actually Hasbro had major layoffs. And Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, and they laid off about 20 creatives from Wizards of the Coast.
Sybil says she's got to go, but it was a great tuning in for a bit. Have a very Merry Christmas, Coles! Yes, you'll get Coles in your Christmas. Yes.
And she gave us a tree and a present and a teddy bear. Toy. Generic toy.
I don't know what it is.
Gingerbread.
Uh-huh.
Gingerbread man.
Mike Merles, of all people. What is Hasbro on? Yes, I know. It's like they just killed...
Yeah, the article I saw said basically they're trying to convince everyone else at Wizards of the Coast to quit. And that's traditionally what happens in the game industry in specific, but high tech in general, is when there's a major layoff, people see the writing on the wall for the company and say, time to get out and go to other companies.
Yeah, but that really is, killing the golden goose, because Wizards
of
the Coast
it's terrible.
Is one of their profit makers.
Yeah. Wizards of the Coast makes pretty much all the profit for Hasbro.
They laid off the entire team that green-lighted Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, yeah, well, they just killed Baldur's Gate 3. So, yeah, it's bad times for that.
And stupid.
And, of course, they did it at Christmas time. Just to bring some merry
That's actually traditional. I can't tell you how many companies I've worked for that have had layoffs just before Christmas. And I always figured part of the reason for that is they normally give time off at Christmas, and they didn't want to pay for time off.
Okay.
So they lay them off just before Christmas
instead of... They want to, make the bottom line of the quarter, so they can say they've made money.
What the article I read on this suggested is they said, but the problem is that Wizards of the Coast people, because Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons pretty much own their respective
licenses,
branches of the industry, that there's no place to go. But Pathfinder has been really building itself up as the alternative to Dungeons and Dragons, and that they're trying to be the quality D&D. So maybe they'll all go to Pathfinder. What's the company name that runs Pathfinder? I forget.
It's funny how history repeats. So it's funny how executives make terrible decisions. I think. Yes. Merry Christmas. My gift is giving you time to find a new job just in time that the new year when nobody is hiring for the next couple of months until
Well, actually, they do. I mean, the beginning of the year is usually when companies start getting budgets and start hiring.
Yeah, but they don't for the next month.
No, right after the new year. That is one of the best times to look for a job.
Fine.
Trust me. Paizo, thank you. Paizo is the company that does Pathfinder.
Okay.
And... yeah, so the advantage of getting laid off just before Christmas, is other than the fact that you're worried sick and etc., is you get, that nice time with family and so on for Christmas before you look for a new job.
Raid!
Oh no, raiding! Who's raiding? Cyber Mermaid Comet VT.
Okay.
Is raiding with a party of 9. Welcome Raiders.
Welcome Raiders, yes.
Raid.
Yeah.
Mermaid on losing passengers.
Okay, thank you for unloading those passengers upon us.
Raid.
We were just discussing the fiasco at Hasbro, yes.
And, Hasbro having their big layoffs that includes Wizards of the Coast people. And that may affect Magic the Gathering and Dungeons
thank
and
you
Dragons.
very much for following us.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Merry Mermaid Raid. Yes, indeed. And it's a time...
I guess it would be Spawn.
Awful.
So if I'm doing that in German, it'd be Spawnlöffel.
Okay. Well,
because you got to pronounce every vowel individually.
Well, how about the Comete or whatever that is?
Comete? Where
the Cyber Mermaid Comete.
Cyber Mermaid. I said Comet, but it could be Comete.
Oh, it depends
and,
on
underscore VT. Virtual Transit.
Okay. Welcome very much. And we are just discussing the fiasco that is Hasbro and Wizard of the Coast, and saying Pathfinder might be the way to go.
And the fact is that game industry is a terrible industry if you're looking for security, because companies are constantly going broke, being merged into other companies, having layoffs, etc. Sierra had 3, 4, 5 layoffs while we were there.
Yeah.
Multiple.
Spoonwaffle.
Spoonwaffle? No, Löffel.
Loeffel?
Löffel.
Oh, okay. What?
Löffel.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's L-O with an umlaut, F-F-E-L.
Okay. But, well, you ain't getting my waffles, yes. Do you know enough German to make fun of Spoon's name? My name is pronounced Comet, actually. Well.
There we go.
Okay, yes.
Comet in the sky, Cybermaid Comet VT.
Merry Christmas calls. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, just realized that I have like 40% of the thrust I needed for my heavy fighter to take off.
Okay, well, you're welcome to rest here and refuel.
Yes.
Because we have the fuel for you.
Yes, we are fuelish. Yeah, here. Yeah.
Troy says, hi, Comet and I actually met through me playing Quest for Glory 1 not too far back. Nice to meet ya.
Hiya, hiya.
That was my line. That's one of my few lines in Quest for Glory, Heroes Quest.
Yes. Hiya, hiya. Pleased to meet ya.
So, Lori liked writing dialogue, but really wasn't too much on writing look messages and messages for climbing a tree and stuff like that. So, pretty much the developers, the programmers, and so on ended up writing an awful lot of that. And our very first puns in Quest for Glory came from Bob Fishbach, one of the programmers, and he did a prototype of the first scene, and he had written some puns on, and I was like, we can have puns?
Yeah, it's his fault, really.
Yep.
All right, yes, I was looking around, curious to see if anyone was playing Quest for Glory, and Troa was. Well, speaking of that, we just had a Quest for Glory fan that's playing that, yes. In fact,
Gavin Stouthart?
Galvin Stouthart is playing this week, yes. This is what happens sometimes when you go out on a limb.
Oh.
You
get a treat.
I'll forever see you as a green meat. Oh, how sweet! The Daventry. That's what you happen when if you go to Daventry, you go out on a limb. I guess so, and there is.
Well, especially if you're, it's a what was the character who's the ultimate Quest for Glory player according to Pauline? What was his name?
ultimate you mean?
Yeah,
You mean what was the name of the
what was
hero?
the name of the hero?
Devon.
Devon Aidendale.
Aidendale. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a Devon tree.
Ah, okay.
Not a Daventry, because it's supposed to be woody.
Yes.
But Devon Aidendale is not canon,
No.
even though all the websites say it is.
Yes. Despite us, it's, clearly it
Devon
is.
Aidendale will never be canon in our
Yeah.
minds.
Oh well, because he's
Devin's 3 now.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Tree, I'm tree at last. Oh. You could be a World of Warcraft druid and become a tree.
Yes, you can. You too can be a tree. You could be a bear. You could be a number
be
of
a cat.
things. Yes.
You can be what are those funny looking owl?
And you're an adorable little baby VTuber too. Well, great. Thank you very much, Brute Claw. Very good.
So we got any actual? We're talking about holidays.
Yes,
so we're talking
we were
about
doing holidays. We were wishing you all a happy holiday. Honestly, thank you, Janice.
But we keep getting distracted from that, of course.
Well, yes, but okay. Oh, Saturnalia. We did not remember to say
Saturnalia.
Happy Saturnalia.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I'm
trees
not sure
are for
I'm
hugging.
not sure that's a happy one, isn't that the one where they?
No. That's
don't.
that's a wild drinking and debauchery
okay.
party.
Oh, all right.
Saturnalia, yeah.
Pretty much like our everyday life.
Yeah. Not really. If drinking
Actually, we have
consists of chai, yes, really.
we have very boring everyday lives.
Uh-huh.
Trees are for hugging.
Yes. So we're wishing you all before
We are Life Sierra Club members.
Yeah, we are.
Despite the fact that we never do anything with them.
Right, we are tree huggers.
I love a good debauchery party.
Yes, well, there's plenty of those to go around. I mean, depending upon what you want to do for this holiday. And we're just welcoming you all and having a happy holiday season, because this is the best time to enjoy it.
So what's the one that Control-Delete came up with?
I don't remember that one.
They have a...
I'm going to check out on your channel too. Give you a follow. Great.
Excelente.
Yes. Let's
so
see.
I wanted to not wear traditional Christmas colors, but just something festive. That's my sort of Ren Fair top. I gave away about almost all of my SCA and Ren Fair stuff. So
yeah, we
we moved very little of it down here.
Yes, when we moved and got rid of so much stuff.
We gave away or sold. Well, we didn't really sell anything. We gave away or threw away an awful lot of stuff.
Yes, we did.
I did sell some Magic cards. I did sell about half my Magic the Gathering cards.
Yep.
So.
Which was amazing.
Yeah, well, Lori was just amazed we got anything for them. She figured they'd be worth about $20.
We still have boxes and boxes and boxes in the garage. So
still about I think I had 40,000. I'm down to 10 or 15,000 probably.
Yeah, so we still have boxes. Oh, I didn't know you did SCA stuff.
I am Erasmus von Spielborg.
Anna Loria, yes.
And we're both we both have our Award of Arms, I guess it was called.
Yes. And wooden spoons from cooking competitions.
Yeah, I've won one wooden spoon. Lori's won several.
Yep. And that's about the extent of it, because
I did archery for a while.
You did.
I was never good at it, but where did Antwerps come from? Antwerps came from our friend Kenita Watson, who is very ticklish. And she had developed the concept of safe words with her friends, and her safe word was Antwerp.
No, it wasn't. We made up that one.
Nope, her safe word was Antwerp.
Fine. Okay.
Her safe word was Antwerp.
Well, she could tell us, yes.
And that meant basically, because if you say "stop tickling me," people think you're joking.
Yeah.
But Antwerp meant...
Yeah, safety word. If you don't know that term, then you should learn it.
You should learn it. Yeah, that if somebody uses their safety word, that means stop what you're doing right now. I'm not having fun anymore.
Yes, that's the key. I am not having fun. So make yourself, with anybody you're with, any partners or anything, have a safety word, because that just says don't go any further. And the idea of I'm not having fun.
So Wooden Spoon was the award from the Kingdom of the West. Okay, I'm sorry, Antwerp.
We got to go back the.
So
other than the fact that word was Antwerp and it was a funny sounding word, the only reason we had Antwerps in the game was because when we were making Quest for Glory 1, I said to the artists, you can make us a monster, any kind of monster, and we'll put it into the game. Just do a fun drawing that you wanted to do. And Jeff Crow, who is Mark Crow's brother.
Mark Crow's younger brother. Mark Crow, of course, is the co-author of Space Quest and Space Fetcher.
The
two guys from Andromeda.
One of the two guys. His brother came up with a design that was based off of the romper room roly-poly things they were giant rubber things that you set on the top, held on to two things, and you'd bounce on them. And that was where the creature came out of, and that's what he designed. And so we just named it Antwerp for no good obvious reason, but that's what it is. Our Antwerp.
Comment said taste these goblins instead, so of course Kevin Stouthart was gasp.
Okay. So then to go back up, wooden spoons. Tell me more. Again, this course was saying.
I won one. So the Kingdom of the West in the SCA, which is Northern California, San Francisco area, and so on, has a wooden spoon competition. I guess at each of their, I don't know if it's once a year. I think it's actually at each of their major, like 3 times a year events. And they give you some sort of a challenge for a competition, and the winner of that challenge gets awarded a wooden spoon. And
it has to be an authentic recipe from the medieval period.
From some part of the medieval period. So for mine, they gave a facsimile of a recipe from Catalonia.
Yes. And they had it in Catalan.
And I didn't know Catalan, but I knew a little bit of French and some Spanish, and I was able to sort of piece it out from that.
This is before Google could just do that for you.
Yeah. So I did some research and tested out the recipe, and it was basically for marzipan-filled cookies.
Yeah.
Fried in olive oil. Fried in olive oil.
Yeah, so not true cookie. Marzipan fried treats.
Anyway, yum. When done right, absolutely delicious. And so I translated that. I actually found a source somehow for it. Maybe there was a little bit of Google back then.
There was something.
And I basically translated the recipe and made the cookies. And part of it was my research and the origin of the recipe and so on. And part of it was the cookies themselves, the treats. So that was my prize. And then you did a couple of them. One was a stew, I think.
One was it was something that involved.
It was a spice stew with that was a slightly sweet.
Yams. It wasn't sweet potatoes because sweet potatoes weren't.
No,
period.
No.
But it was something in that classification.
Beets? No.
No, I don't eat beets. I don't eat no. But at any rate, I made something that, and my favorite one was the one from the Arabic by the guy we were just talking about.
David Friedman?
Yes, his alter ego.
Milton Friedman's son was a big bard in the SCA in the San Jose.
He had a cookbook, and his cookbook.
Karayadoc was his SCA name.
He put out a cookbook that was based on the Arabian, one of the first Arabian cookbooks that there were, and so I made a dessert that is dates and pistachio nuts, and it's really, really good. So
he was great at getting into character, and so it would be the caravanserai and sit around the fire there, and
that was his character.
Yeah,
his SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism, for you people that have never heard.
So the reason I know all this is because at one point he had a folk song circle. scheduled.
Effectively a Barty part.
Bardic Circle scheduled at his house, and I was the only one who showed up. So the two of us had a great time discussing. And then after we're done, he got out of character, and I asked him about economics and the Chicago school that he and his father had come up with, and so on.
Yes, social safe words are so important.
They party.
Yeah, and Antwerpen isn't very fun. That's true. Yes, don't tease the Antwerps. Please don't. Yes, tease the Goblins. Oh no. Yes. And there we have a dance there.
Yeah. And a comment says, once upon a time I was going to start SCA and LARP, but around the same time. Figure I can do both.
That's a lot.
So I did that in college. I took a lab class in a couple different ones. One in electronics, one in computer programming, and one in Russian. And said, I can do all this. And no, couldn't. Too much.
Yeah.
So I dropped out of Russian after about 7 weeks.
For those who may not know, Antwerp. It doesn't.
Antwerpen is a city in Belgium which notorious has the worst traffic in Europe.
Huh? Does it really? Okay.
And they have dikes that they have people that have to stand and put a finger in the dike to keep it from.
That wasn't in Antwerp. That was Holland.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah,
Belgium, Netherlands, Holland.
I think the folks behind Ultima were really into the SCA.
To some extent, yeah.
And
Lord British was his, I guess, SCA persona.
From rumors had it that Lord British had a mansion in Texas that he had built, and it had secret passages and everything else. And every Christmas they would have a real celebration.
Total blowout party there.
At that, so that was something that always sounded like, boy, that's a person to know then. And then
he had one of those things. It was a wire that ran, I don't know, several hundred yards that you held on to a handle and slid down the wire and stuff like that, and secret doors and all kinds of stuff.
And the other one was Wozniak of Apple
Steve
fame.
Wozniak,
the other Apple
crazy
person,
rich guy. Oh,
the crazy rich guy who did make a fortune, had an entirely had his back of his I don't know how much land he had turned into a series of caves that are behind him, so that his kids could go exploring through the caves. So that's what you get when you get more money than you can deal with.
Asian Way said that Russian would have paid for itself, my Russian classes, if I had had a game set in Syria.
No.
We got close and we got to Moldavia. Was Lord British an SCA persona? No, I don't believe SCA would accept that. It was really because Lord British started developing games in like junior high school.
Yes.
And he was writing his own games, and he did Akalabeth was his first game, and then Ultima 1. I think that he was born in England or something like that, which is and had a little bit of a British accent, so that's where he took on the persona of Lord British for himself. And
I don't know about that, games. But I do know that
SCA would never have allowed that.
Yes, the word British, the British is a proper name. However, we have Lord British to thank for the fact that we are gamers today, because if he had not gone to Sierra with Ultima 2 to sell Ultima 2 through their distribution center, and they did.
Which they did, and it was very successful. And the only problem was that Lord British didn't quite get the massive royalties he'd expected from that. Part of that might have been on realism, having, done his games on it. Well, I guess, no, he had a West Coast publisher before that.
Okay.
For his first game. It was, sold in baggies, Ziploc bags. The problem is that let's say you have a game that retails for $50 or $60, and that means that the store pays $40 for it, and then tries to get a little bit of a markup. The distributor pays a company like Sierra $20 for that and gets their markup, and then they give 1 to 5% royalty to the developer. And so you're down to like $1.
Well, at Syria, I mean, at that time period, that was not 1%. It was more like 15%.
Closer to 5.
Well, I think it was more.
Might have been. Okay, well, if you developed the game entirely, it was close to 15.
And remember how much
Allo
was getting at that time. He was really making money off of it.
But anyway, regardless, Lord British was not pleased with the amount of royalties he was getting from Sierra, so he decided he would form his own company and self-publish the rest of the Ultima series, and that's when he created Origin Systems.
And that's when he became the real millionaire.
So, a couple years later, Sierra licensed another role-playing game that I forget what it's called. That didn't do too well. And then we heard from our friend Carly Hawksdaughter, who was an animator there, that he was looking for a certified award-winning, prize-winning dungeon masters you put me really.
I put you in dark because otherwise.
This side needs a side light now.
Well, it was better than what it was because we were blowing out.
All right, how about that?
I don't know because now they're just seeing your keyboard, Corey. I'm not sure. Now you can blow out. Yes.
Yep. Now I'm blown out.
Okay, fine.
That's kind of bright. It's in my eyes too.
You can pull it off to the side. Yes. That way. Yeah. There we go.
All right. So they were looking for. No, it wasn't Krondor. This was long before Krondor.
Oh yeah. Award.
It was something like Wrath of Denethanor. That might have been the one.
Okay, fine.
Might have been Wrath of Denethanor. Anyway, so our friend Carly said that she was in a meeting with all the, the creative people at Sierra, and that Kenneth decreed that they wanted to, find a prize-winning dungeon master, champion dungeon master to create a role-playing game for them. So Carly and I laughed at that a little. I said, well, I did enter a competition D&D game one time at Gen Con, and I won. So that makes me a champion D&D player. Yeah. And then
you won the award of Mariposa at the D&D game the one time. So he won.
Oh, yeah. I won a D&D game at a Mensa group that awarded me a little miniature of a Pegasus, as well as the Pegasus mount for my character. And so therefore I was award-winning. And I was published because I had Tower of Indomitable Circumstance was my published D&D-ish module.
So we met the qualifications.
And we had run a game at a TimeCon convention. Lori came up with a game called Master of Time. And so we were a tournament.
Yes, because that was a tournament style.
Yes. So therefore, we met every one of his adjectives from 5 different places. And so I said, I can apply for this. And Carly put me in touch with Ken Williams. And I called him up. And he was like, yeah, well, I've got, everybody working here thinks that they can be a game designer. What makes you any different? He said, well, I do have, 10 years of programming experience. So I know how to talk to programmers. And said, oh, okay, that's good. And my latest project was this desktop publishing system for the Atari ST. And he said, oh, tell me more. And it turned out that he had made a deal with Atari, Jack Trammell, to convert SCI games, their King's Quest and so on, over to the Atari ST. And they only had one person in-house that knew anything about the Atari ST. So I needed an Atari ST programmer, and that was how I got into Sierra.
Yep.
6 months later, Ken had the meeting with us, and mostly with Lori, but we did a show and tell of our...
Why Quest for Glory or Heroes Quest at the time would be a successful game.
We showed off our Mensa D&D newsletter. It's called The Spellbook, and I showed off Tower of Indomitable Circumstance.
And we gave him a game proposal, and he took it, and that's where we
And at which point he said, okay, well, you're off working with Atari stuff. Keep doing that. Lori will hire you as a game designer.
Yes. Well, a contractor at any rate. I wasn't hired. I was not an employee.
She was a contract game designer.
The 4 games that we made
First 3.
for Sierra.
Fourth one you went in.
No, I had it. We had a contract. Fourth game was Shadows of Darkness, and we both had a contract then. You were not an employee. You got a contract too. And that's when they broke the contract and fired us. But coming into 5, I was actually had to be an employee. So
yeah, I think we had a 3-game contract starting with 3, and they broke it after 4.
Wrath of Denethanor, Sierra Online, Apple II, and C64 from 1986.
There we go.
Thank you, Brainiac.
I started at Sierra in 1988. And we had this meeting in around July or August, probably August of 88. We had the meeting with Ken. And at that point, Lori went home and she and I got out some graph paper and started drawing maps and coming up with ideas for Heroes Quest. And that got green-lighted.
Well, the key thing was that Ken wanted another Ultima clone. And we went, and Corey, because he had worked there and had worked with their system, came back and said,
we can't do that. Your system is not set up for an Ultima-style game. But I said the kind of games we do on the tabletop role-playing, involve a lot of talking and, people interacting and role-playing. And we can get you a real role-playing game using the Sierra engine. Because you do realistic backgrounds and characters and stuff, and that's what real role-playing is about.
We sold him on the idea that we could use his system completely to do this, and therefore it wouldn't cost that much money.
And everything. So life is a whole series of twists and turns with little obstacles or puzzles or valves at different points.
Just like
the
games.
Decisions point.
Just like games.
And things can happen. So it is rather a fluke that I ever met Lori in the first place.
Yep.
Which we met over me running a D&D game at a convention in San Francisco.
City that neither of us lived in.
Yeah, she lived in Phoenix, Arizona. I lived in Los Angeles, and we met in San Francisco.
Yes. Technically, I lived on an Indian reservation at the time, but that's beside the point.
And so all these coincidences. So the coincidence here was I mentioned the desktop publishing projects I had done. That was where I first learned how to do object-oriented programming. And that is a completely different style of programming than the old procedural style that we used to use. Now, Sierra had a vaguely Lisp-based object-oriented system. AGI was more procedural than SCI was their new system. Was very loosely based on Lisp. It was an object-oriented system. So I was able to look at that and say, okay, with an object-oriented system like this, it's built up in layers, and we can take the system layer that's used for, and the layer that's used for all the adventure games, and add another layer on top of that that'll be a role-playing game layer. And that'll do skills and stats and combat and all the role-playing stuff that we're used to. So we could do a D&D-ish game in the Sierra engine. It turns out it's a little more limited than that, but we made it work.
Okay, so Wrath was called the best Ultima clone, from what I could find, but it was still an obvious clone, of course. And then Quest for Glory was a entirely different beast. Well, we had played some Ultima games by then.
Yeah, we played Ultima 4, something with Avatar.
Which, I mean, we
played a little bit of 3.
Yes, we played two of them. We played that one and we played the next one. And their opening sequences were wonderful. The opening sequence for Avatar was this gypsy camp, and they were reading your fortune, and that's what determined the kind of character you were going to have. And it was enchanting. I mean, it really caught the imagination. It really gave a story and things. And then you played the game, and as I said, you were a little jumping jack of a character up and down the screen, and all you did was kill things. And it was that disappointment of what that game had so much potential to be. Of course, technologically, it couldn't have done much more, but that's why we wanted to do games, is because these games just weren't living up to the potential that we knew they had. And so therefore, if it wasn't for, Lord British, we probably wouldn't have ever managed to get into the game industry, certainly not at Sierra.
Now, our other Romani fortune-telling experience was Ravenloft.
Oh, yeah.
The Ravenloft scenario for D&D, which we thought was really neat, by Weissman and Hicks. I can't remember which one. Hickman?
I think.
Hickman and Weiss, or something like that. Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss.
Yeah.
And that was quite a wonderful scenario. And we decided one year to have a marathon Dungeons and Dragons.
Halloween night.
Yeah, on a Halloween night. We had a kind of a little better than a crawl space. It would have been an attic in some houses, but it was actually on our second floor. And we had some of our D&D playing friends over there.
It
and
was the master bedroom, Corey, for the house. It was the biggest room in the house. And it was the library, so we had books all over it.
Okay, so we had turned the master bedroom into a library.
Library, yes.
And Lori dressed up as the gypsy fortune teller, and we stacked a deck of tarot cards.
You're right, to read the fortune of the party to set them in motion. So all of these things are all tied together, and weirdly they have synergy.
Which is why in Quest for Glory 4, there's two experiences of playing Ultima 4 and Ravenloft were experiences that led to us having the fortune teller in Ultima 4. I mean, I guess there's half a dozen other background things in our lives.
Yes, but certainly influenced the
we decided the idea,
fortune tellers in Quest for Glory 4.
And the fortune basically foreshadows what's going to happen later in the game.
Yes, Ravenloft directly influenced Shadows of Darkness.
Dragonlance books, yes.
Yes, Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss were the Dragonlance, and the original books were really very good. I never got too far after that, but
we played a Kender character for a while.
Yes.
Based on Dragonlance.
Now let's see, fluke that I met my spouse also. I still don't know how it really happened.
Did Al-Qadim have any influence in Quest for Glory 2? No, I don't think we actually played Al-Qadim. But we had read all kinds of Arabian Nights stories and stuff like that.
Roadwork says they need to be a good boy and ride his bike before it gets too hot. Yes.
I've got a Fitbit that I was given as part of a project called All of Us. That's a health research thing, and 9 to 5 every hour, about 10 minutes before the end of the hour, tells me that I should have been walking 250 steps at least during that hour. And I find it's actually kind of fun, to play that as a game, and I'm doing a lot more walking than I was before I had that.
Of course she's a Kender, yes. Well, I used to have red hair, but my alignments run from Paladin to Mage to Kender, yeah.
Well, we had very curly red hair when I met her.
I got that a lot when I wore my Fitbit. I took it off. You're not the boss of me, yeah.
I like having a boss.
It gives him structure.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Reminds me that, I could be doing something instead of sitting around reading web pages or playing games.
Well, good.
Don't know why, but yeah.
So let's see. Can you get up the...
I'm trying to live till 70, which is about 50-50 at this point.
Okay.
Bring up the what?
Bring up the Corey and Lori...
Patreon?
No, the pictures that we were going to show off.
Lori gave us some holiday pictures
so we can
here.
talk over that, yes. I've been slightly obsessed with Paladins for a whole life, and I blame y'all for that. Well, good. I mean, it's a good thing to be obsessed about. We need more Paladins in this world, even the chaotic neutral ones. I mean...
Corey, Lori, share...
It was blog articles that you put it in.
Blog articles.
Yeah.
Because I was going to use it for something.
Yes, you were.
2023 photos?
No, I put it in the main one. So it should
I told you to make a subdirectory.
Oh, well, I thought you had, but I didn't.
No.
Okay, put it in order.
We'll never figure this out.
View by details. Details pane. Oh, come off. View by details. There. Now do by date, and you will find that my protos will be, that was the right way, yeah.
Okay.
There, and then you go down to Baymax.
But I can't tell what any of them are, so I will go to the desktop.
So you can see.
And you will see this list of who knows what it is.
Until you double click on it.
Let's double click.
Yes, there. Now you
describe
can
that.
That's a Baymax. Baymax from Hero 6.
Yes.
Ornament.
Big Hero 6.
Yeah, Big Hero 6, yes. I really like that cartoon. That was great. That was Disney.
And this one.
That's an ornament. We're just going to talk over it. Yes, it is ornamental. It was, you don't...
Did I skip one?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, there's a snowman.
There is a snowman. These are all... This is from Disney...
at the Wonder Something Gallery.
Yes.
In San Diego.
No.
No, it's not in Gasland?
That is from Disney.
Disneyland.
Not Disneyland proper, the other one, Disney Outdoors.
Disney Downtown.
Disney Downtown. We went to Disneyland this week. There is their Santa. He was doing voodoo, I think, onto Hoodoo the people, because he was awesome. You're not supposed to go so fast.
Oh, okay.
You're supposed to talk over it.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily talk about it.
What about Chaotic Evil?
Yes. Chaotic Evil, that's an anti-paladin if you're Chaotic Evil. Sorry.
Or I would say actually a lawful evil, it would be an anti-paladin.
I don't know. Chaotic Evil is even worse. Because
but they don't make much of paladin.
Nobody can stand a chaotic evil. You can work with a lawful evil.
Lawful evil is interesting because they can uphold a despotic leader. Sort of a Donald.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say that word.
Yes, you did.
A very very evil leader, and be totally do things by the rules and support the government and so on.
Yes, there's the D&D. Lawful stupid paladins, and I play a great lawful stupid paladin, let me tell you. I have done that before.
Now, according to true D&D rules, in the second edition and later, a paladin must have a minimum intelligence of 9 on a 3 to 18 scale in order to be a paladin. But my house rules in my D&D group when I started out is a paladin must have a intellect score of 8 or lower. Because they said, you couldn't possibly be that lawful good unless you were stupid.
Yes, let's see. Yes, I always liked how Quest for Glory Paladins more focused on good than the strict law that I've seen other paladins focus on. But actually, I think our tenets, because when we did the School for Heroes, we actually had tenets for paladins. Justice was the key. That, yes, they must do good. They must produce good things for people, but it's all about the concept of justice versus law.
So they paid rent rather than owning their own homes. They were tenant paladins?
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Tenant.
I will fight a fool about D&D paladins. D&D alignment is silly, though. Huh? Yes. I could also play a very straight... You can... Honestly, even within the limitations of D&D, where you had these strict alignments, you can play a multitude of characters that still fit vaguely into those strict categories that are personality-wise so very different.
And you can also go with different cultures. So, I talked about the anti-paladin, but it could actually be an actual paladin working for an evil ruler.
Yeah.
And he basically follows all the instructions strictly, but tries to do good doing it.
Hey, that's not an anti-paladin.
Oh, well.
That's a paladin.
That's what I said.
No, you said anti-paladin.
No, right. You could have an actual paladin.
Okay, fine. I don't think that happens
in
very
Evil Kingdom.
No. Yes, he could be trying to do the right things, despite the fact that we are in an authoritarian society that does not allow it. Yes.
And of course, the original paladins were, Roland.
Yeah.
In Orlando Furioso goes mad.
Yeah.
And starts, hacking up people and stuff like that.
Lancelot went mad too. I mean, it's a big thing in medieval literature for whatever reason. David TKI points out that the D&D messed up with paladins. They lose their powers if they turn a blind eye to party members doing evil acts, which was a mistake on the D&D rules part, because there is never a case where a paladin and a bunch of other characters do not get into conflict because of nobody wants to follow the paladin's strict interpretation.
It was actually a trope in my Chicago group that the rogue would, or somebody would say, "Hey, look over there," and then the rogue would go and slit somebody's throat while the paladin was looking the other way.
It puts them in the position of having to police their party's behavior, which is kind of an interesting, makes for great group dynamics, but it doesn't always make for fun dynamics. So let's see. Compare Rakesh with a thief hero. Rakesh knows darn well what you're about, but he sees your capacity for good. Yes. Yes. And he knows that you will do good, and he hopes you will not, and he hopes that you will learn from your experiences. Yes.
So I played a paladin in a party that had discovered a very powerful, almost artifact level evil weapon. And the party said, we can get 50,000 gold for this easy. And Paladin says, we're destroying this. And he simply did. I had a wand of disintegration. I disintegrated the artifact.
Oh, yes. You'll go over well, yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I always
no, we can't allow this to fall into an evil person's hands and nobody else can use it.
Yeah, perfectly reasonable. I've always liked how Rakesh explained it. A paladin does good because it is his will. I've always taken that as the paladin can internalize what they believe is a right thing, and their own soul will be empowered by that belief. And yes, that's kind of what it is. The paladin knows that it's kind of like the Force, honestly, before they screwed that over.
So Laurie uses the word will with a capital W.
Uh-huh.
And it is actually similar, vaguely similar to Aleister Crowley had the idea of will as the the great attribute of a wizard, effectively, that somebody who does magic has to have such a powerful will and
a belief, a structure of
belief and mind that he can control his environment.
Right.
So Laurie gave that attribute to the paladin, that essentially they know what is right.
Yes.
They're, so that's always been the problem with, paladin is that, okay, well, they're always doing what they believe to be right. Well, what if they're wrong about that?
Yeah.
And the answer in Quest for Glory, as we simplify it, they aren't.
They aren't. You're not a paladin if you do not sense that right. The right of justice, the right of, compassion, all of these traits. So, yeah.
And in Hero You Rogue to Redemption, we have a trait called Moxie, which is basically the ability to get away with things and, the kind of the bravery of the rogue that Sean has. And that stat turns directly into will when you come to a paladin.
Yeah.
So it's really another side of the same die.
Exactly. I played a paladin at a LARP who would just kind of wander off when they noticed that people were dealing in underhanded but necessary ways. And I think they took that as a cue that it was time to be ungoodly, underhandedly. Okay.
Tisk.
I both love and hate how 5e paladins don't need gods. That's interesting. Well,
interesting.
Yeah,
the early editions of D&D, clerics didn't need a god.
Need a god, yeah.
So that was one of my first articles in the spell book was, what if your cleric had a god?
And how that would change entirely how you behaved. You were no longer a generic character. I think you need to have a god to be a paladin in D&D. You do not need it in, in our game, but that's a different system.
Yeah, you don't really need it in World of Warcraft, certainly.
Yeah. And Asian Waste says, goody chlorines. That was just so awful. That ruined Star Wars for me. Yes. Always wanted to LARP, didn't have the money to dress up or know the people to LARP with. I agree. I have never actually LARPed. I have done the equivalent in our D&D games. I was dressed as a Buccaneer Brucey, and we had everybody, when we were living in Awani, we had set a treasure out there in our property, and at night, in the middle of the night, our whole D&D group went out treasure hunting for this treasure.
I think we had some clues or something.
We had clues, but one of the players was Richard Aronson, who, is our friend and who did...
the voice of Cedric.
The voice of Cedric, as many of
you. But more
know.
importantly, he was the lead programmer on Conquest of the Longbow, and he designed
Shadows.
Shadows of Cerberus. He did
A Cotter.
Ruins of Cotter.
Ruins of Cotter.
For the Sierra Network.
Well, he was playing a Hoka. And this Hoka is this
bear-like
role-playing bear who gets into a character and believes it. And he was playing as a pirate Hoka. And he said, well, let's go this way. And everybody followed him until finally...
And then he said, oh, now we go this way.
Yes, and finally somebody said, you know, we probably shouldn't be following a Hoka because he was going off in his own way. And, you know, I was the GM,
and he was
but
completely ignoring the clues.
I'm in character, so of course I knew.
Oh, you were Buccaneer Brucey? Yeah.
Yes, I was Buccaneer Brucey. And so I knew we were going off in the wrong way, but it was so much fun. So we LARPed, and we seriously role-played with our D&D games, honestly.
Yeah, several of the science fiction conventions we used to go to had LARP events.
Yes, we
and,
just didn't.
We just never had time to get into them because we were playing D&D with friends and stuff.
Yeah, and I love that earlier D&D had more of a concept of people who tried to be paladins and failed, and that's actually an interesting concept. I've never actually played as a wannabe paladin, although you did. You played as the wannabe paladin who was delusional and thought he was... Oh, no, it was Dave Barry's character.
Dave Barry says, I'm a leader. And they said, well, leaders go in front. He said...
he was actually a wizard class, but he believed he was a paladin.
He believed he was a paladin.
And his spells all came because he was a paladin. And he was a leader. And, you know, and then we'd have arguments. Well, shouldn't paladins be in front? He says, no,
I lead from the back.
And so we had great times because he really was, his character was seriously deluded that he was a true paladin, even though he really was a wizard. And he wasn't actually all that lawful good to begin with because the player was not that lawful good to begin with. More chaotic.
Mr. Brainiac says, even if I would not object to strangling that shame of a Strigine, well... original D&D had a monster called a Sturge that was a bat-like, sort of like a gigantic mosquito that was a bat-like blood-sucking creature. And we finally figured out that they had misspelled Stridge as Sturge.
Yes.
And that stuck. So Sturges.
Yes.
They were in I was running Lost Caverns of Sokonth.
Ah, okay.
Which I had a great time with Lost Caverns of Sokonth. That I had gotten a Ziplocked version of it from a convention of the original version of the game, and had made my own clues and so on parchment, and then burned the edges of them so that you couldn't read part of it and stuff.
Yeah.
And, that was kind of fun.
Yes, LARP groups are a time commitment, just like the SCA is a time commitment, and then all these things. D&D is a time commitment. If you're a GM, you know, you really have to really get together and figure out how to make the games interesting.
Yeah, so the main thing you do in the SCA is fighters, which basically dress up in full armor, then use rattan weapons to try to beat each other senseless and win glory in the battlefield. But there's lots and lots of people that don't fight, and so they're sitting around and essentially camping out. And you have the cooks, and you have the artisans, and the musicians, the bards, and so on.
I'm not a very social person, so I prefer to do things like join the cooking groups and that. So.
But they had awards for excellence in the arts.
So you competed for bardic competitions.
Yeah, I did. I did compete in a bardic competition once, but I was in this was in a barony that I'd only been in with in a short time, so I didn't really know the history of the barony or anything to write songs about it.
Do it. Yep. In Baldur's Gate 2, a party member is a fighter cleric that starts out lawful neutral and is a paladin in training. He can fail his paladin test and become jaded. Change his alignment to chaotic neutral. If he passes, he changes alignment to lawful good. That's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's using the system and really making it work, yes.
And I think he can also reject his paladinhood and maintain his alignment as well. Which, in theory, in Quest for Glory, you could import your fighter who was awarded paladinhood to stay as a fighter, but mostly not.
Yeah,
There
we
were
just
some
tried.
problems with the imports.
We've got the pictures. If you're actually watching your screen, probably aren't, but we've got pictures going up so that you have something to look at while we yak about these things. But yeah, D&D is had some very interesting systems that really affected the way you played.
Oh, I was going to say say you want to be, what if your cleric had a religion? This being in the early periods of D&D, well, how do you choose the religion for your cleric? I had a table, roll D100, and that tells you what your religion is.
Okay.
And nowadays, we would say, well, that's nonsense. Pick the religion you want to be.
Right.
But back then, everything was random.
Right. I hated the randomness. I came up with characters and, when basically found the stats that worked with that character. But
So you got a reflection of a bass.
A violin.
Is it a violin?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that, yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Yes.
So Buccaneer Brucey was swishy. Wasn't necessarily gay. That was never explicitly.
He was. Oh, he was.
All right.
It was explicit. It was the most explicit game we ever played. And there are things we will not talk about to this day of what went on in that game because
what they used Dr. Death Sab for?
Yes. So there's things that should not be mentioned in polite company.
So now, was that before or after the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie? It was before, wasn't it?
Before, yeah.
So basically, Jack, what's his name? Jack the Pirate?
Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow, yes. So it was basically, Laurie was Jack Sparrow long before Jack Sparrow was Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Was actor.
Indeed.
Who's the actor?
The actor for Jack Sparrow, of course. Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. So long before Johnny Depp was Captain Jack Sparrow, Laurie had Buccaneer Brucey.
Yes.
And
Happy Science. So, yes, there's another holiday.
As we know,
Science Day.
As we all know, all Disney movies are actually based on Quest for Glory.
Yes. Well, we didn't actually bring Buccaneer Brucey to our games yet. Well, somebody
who played our game obviously knew about it.
We did seriously consider it for the expansion packs of Quest for Glory 5. That we would have at least some references to Buccaneer Brucey in it, yes.
Now, we were, of course, fans of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, and so that was an influence on our pirate adventures.
Of course. Yes.
Before the movies.
Right.
It was going to be pirate themed.
Yes,
was that about the Quest for Glory 5 expansion?
Yes. Yeah, we would have a pirate theme.
It was sort of Odyssey themed. It was going to be basically traveling around the Med Sea, and
that isn't very Christmassy, but that's okay.
That's it's cool. Interesting.
Yeah, is that a Santa boat ornament? Oh, yes. Let's go back. That's an inflatable on the boats.
Yes,
it actually wobbles back and forth.
In Oceanside Harbor,
yes.
We
yes,
saw that ornament on.
This is our holiday weather. We're out there, and Santa is in a hula skirt dancing on ships, and that's what our winter is like here.
Yes, I remember when I was a teenager, one Christmas Day, walking around downtown Los Angeles, and I think I was playing in a chess tournament or something. And
on Christmas Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I looked down and saw that, it's Christmas Day, and I'm wearing a T-shirt, and I'm comfortable. Yay, LA! So.
Yeah. Well, when I lived in Arizona, it got really cold in the Christmas time. It didn't snow; it just got cold. But here, down in Southern California, boy, this is appropriate attire for part of the time.
We have a neighbor here in Oceanside that loves to put up inflatables for all the holidays. And he's got an inflatable Santa Claus with a candy cane and stuff like that. Is that a horse?
No, I would say it's the symbol of the Illuminati, clearly.
Oh, okay.
And so,
the eye in a pyramid.
Right. This is all clearly.
So it's a dollar bill.
It's an it's a message. It's one of those secret messages in plain sight. That's
We just heard that apparently there's secret messages in pizzas.
Oh God, no. Yeah, well, forget that. Here's a nice little ornament. This again was, I think we took this. I took
So-
this at
So it's
San
got the
Diego.
lace indicating it's a woman, but it has a pair of balls, so therefore it's transgender.
I would never have gone there, Corey.
Well,
Honestly.
you must go there now. You'll
I
never
guess.
unsee it again.
Oh, I see.
Pizza Elemental!
Yay! I don't know how many we've shown. Here's another.
The sign of the Illuminati is not the all-seeing eye. It's the Owl of Minerva. I didn't know that.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense.
We're clearly underinformed.
I mean-
And this one is 4 balls, or 2 pairs of them, so you can imagine.
It has a lot of balls.
A lot of
Corey.
balls.
It's got a lot. This ornament has a lot of balls.
I think it's
fine.
probably a Martian spaceship.
Okay, fine. We'll go back to this one, though, huh? Yeah.
I like the green
Back to
ribbon
the.
on that.
Yeah, I do too. I really liked it. Here, we'll go
Oh,
back
okay, this.
to the Eye of Minerva. That
The Owl of Minerva.
Owl of the Minerva. Well, it still looks like an eye. This
Who's
one looks an all-seeing eye.
Voiced by Cedric.
Oh God, please! But yeah, see, it's got these.
It's all about wisdom.
These lines coming out, which is the all-seeing eye effect. So
Which is really Odin.
no, Odin's missing an eye. I think there was not. He had his ravens would go out and find the information. He wasn't sending his eye out like a damn warlock.
Oh, it was a
sending
good
out
eye
his-
because he cut it out in order to.
he traded it for.
Wisdom.
For wisdom, yes.
Because sometimes you're.
There's another ornament. Yes.
That's a blue ball.
Yes. Oh, and there's
Oh.
the science lab, so that says we've gone through all those pictures.
I think you keep skipping one though. Let's
Okay,
skip a
you think?
couple.
I don't think we skipped it.
No.
I just went fast.
Oh, okay. Went.
Fast.
Huh.
Here we go.
Sound like you were double clicking, but
Yeah, and here's
You are.
this one, and there's this one. We'll just go back through it. So if anybody's
Okay.
actually watching, there's the Santa on the boat. There's
so this is what Lori likes to do is go around and take pictures.
Yes, this was from the inside of a music shop. And this is the other picture from
And
the
she's
inside
very
of a music
retro. She
shop.
rarely uses her cell phone. She uses a
Real camera.
Canon 90D.
And this was a window, and this was a window, and that was the parade at Disneyland because we just went to
Oh,
Disney.
those windows were in Carlsbad.
Yes, this Disneyland parade that I caught. This is
I love that one. That's the Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras theme in New Orleans Square of Disneyland. They had the entire New Orleans Square was very well decorated for Christmas. This is one of their wreaths. I've got a lot of pictures of it. This was their Santa Claus in the parade, and he was amazing. He had a great
We
voice.
said, "Oh no, a black Santa Claus! They're woke."
Yes, you said that.
I said that.
Yes, and
She's a cannon.
Yes,
Is there
they-
any- yes. There's often property damage when Lori uses her cannon.
yes. What was I going to say about this? Oh,
Uh-huh.
this is the equivalent of the snowmen that we have in our area. They're made out of plastic, or they're made out
Plaster,
of
yeah.
plaster, or inflatables. That's a plastic.
This is really pretty. I like that.
I liked it too. I
Was
like
that in Carlsbad or
No, that was at Balboa Park, which
Balboa
is
Park,
right by
okay.
the zoo.
San Diego Zoo,
San Diego Zoo, yeah.
which is a wonderful zoo.
Yes.
We are members.
And then we came to this one. I have a lot more pictures, but these are the ones I processed and actually did something. Yes.
So Lori snaps a picture and then she spends a few hours on each one.
Well, maybe not a few hours, but
maybe
that's
an hour
the
on
fun
each
of
one.
it. That's where the art comes in. Honestly, I don't consider myself a photographer.
Working on the contrast and she's a photographic artist.
Yes, and that's the real fun. The advantage to doing photography is it gets you out of the house and it gets you walking and doing exercise and seeing things in different lights. Even without the camera, you learn to see differently. And the advantage of being an artist is then I can take those pictures and make them into something that I feel like are aesthetically pleasing. And
So when I was first learning how to play guitar, all the great guitarists had C.F. Martin guitars. But there was a little problem. There was a major fire in the wood shop where they seasoned the wood for the Martins. And so the Martins that came out after that were not quite as amazing as the previous ones. And I went into a guitar shop and tried out called Fancy Music in Santa Barbara, and then tried out all their guitars, and finally decided the Guild was the perfect one for me. But that was kind of second class compared to a Martin or a Gibson. And so similarly in cameras, the fancy, expensive, most expensive camera is the Nikon. And the professional photographers, mostly at least used to, all use Nikons.
They used to, but they don't now.
And then Canons were kind of the second grade. But Lori discovered the major difference between a Nikon and a Canon is that Canons are a little bit smaller and fit her hand better.
Yep.
So Nikon was not the best camera for her.
Yeah.
Going out of the house as a gamer?
Yes.
If you're playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah, really. One game I've always wanted to play, yeah.
Or a LARP, or if you're metagaming.
Exactly.
A lot of reasons to go outside the house as a
try
gamer.
to get out of the house occasionally as a rule. Yes, another good rule for life.
I was going to do a thing about nerd fitness at some point, and one of the things, because we're used to, we spent 30, 40, 50 years mostly sitting at our desks. But one of the things that almost got me in trouble when I was first at Sierra was because I always did my thinking while I was walking around. Well, it depends which Canon you get. Lori does not have a $1,200 camera. Oh, that's pretty good.
It was pretty close.
It might be close to that.
That's not that cheap. It's not a cheap.
My Guild D40 was $450 when I bought it. I remember that back in mid 1970s. That's about $1,500 or $2,000 now.
Go to Amazon and find out how much.
Oh, Amazon.
Yes,
okay.
Amazon to find out.
Amazon.
Yeah.
So what story was I?
We started out with cheaper cameras.
Yeah, first one she had was a Canon Rebel. Canon Rebel T1.
They don't make them anymore.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Those are still. It's a T7, T1i for $400.
Yeah, but that's because it's old. It was probably.
The Canon EOS 90D is what she has currently, and that is about $1,200 without a lens.
Yeah.
$1,600 with a default lens.
Yeah, so that's, it wasn't a cheap camera at all, but you can really get expensive on cameras. And lenses.
So, about $1,200 for the one she has.
Yeah.
And, she had wanted, I think, a 50D, and I said, I might as well splurge on it. The ones with the single-digit numbers are actually higher end. So, like a 7D, I think, is the model. EOS 7D, not that much more expensive.
No.
Mark II,
No.
$1,500 for a body only. How about the 1D? Yeah, the 1D, Mark III body, $6,500. And there's $2,700. Most of the options don't show you the price. It's an expensive hobby.
Yeah. Gavin says, hey, I've sadly forgot a lot of things from my photography class. I had some fun experiments with it, though. Light drawing was especially fun. I've never had a real photography class like all the things I've ever done. I learned by myself. I've taken, seminars, one-day seminars, and that's how I learned how to do real photography. I shoot manual. Because it allows me the control I need.
I didn't know Amazon had Guild D40s.
Now you know.
Okay,
wow.
so I have the
you could
traditional.
show this scene if you wanted to.
Desktop.
Yeah.
Mine is like this one. It's the Sunburst.
Yeah.
And this one is at $2,900.
Yes. How much
Spruce
was it?
and rosewood. I paid $450. I don't think I have rosewood.
Yeah, that looks like it.
It looks just like mine.
So,
this looks identical to my guitar, except for mine has more scratches.
Yes, exactly. So, at any rate, that was his measure of expensive.
Yeah,
things.
anything that was more than $450 was expensive. And now, when you're spending, average rent can be $2,000 for 1 month. $450 just doesn't work as a measure of expensive anymore. D40 natural for $1,800 or the traditional natural for $2,800. So my guitar is about a $2,500 guitar if I had to replace it today.
So yes, my best tool for camera
work. And it wouldn't have been aged by 50 years either. So
that's true. And yours has mellowed over the years. It has ripened to its gloriousness.
It is a wonderful guitar. I love it.
Go back to
Oh, I didn't look up my
the webcam.
Back to the webcam.
Yes.
Laura wants to talk,
They,
even though she's halfway in the dark.
That's okay. It was better than being blown out entirely on one side. Yes. It's strange how when you're a kid, these amounts of money seem ludicrous. But as an adult, hobbies are cheap, even in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's the expenses of life that will kill you instead. Yeah, hundreds or thousands. Yeah.
I was going to say hundreds of thousands is our hobby of making computer games.
Yes, exactly. You have to get up there.
We spent about somewhere between 800,000 and 1.2 million, depending on how you count it, on Hero U Road to Redemption, and we got 275, 350. We got about $600,000 investment towards it, and we put in about 200,000 of our own, got it to 800,000, and the other 400,000 is because we didn't pay on ourselves anything, and we spent 6 years working in a game instead of getting an income.
Right, expensive hobby. It is a very expensive hobby, but we're still working on it. And, we're working on Feo's Adventure right now. Yeah, it'll come out next year. I mean, this year was kind of this year had an awful lot of odd things going on that really interfered with the whole thing. But all this time, we've had our artists and programmer more or less sort of working on things. You're going to do the calculation?
Yes, $450 in, let's say, September of 75, approximately.
Okay.
Today's dollars.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. The calculation, which you can't read. But if you could read that, it would say that $450 in September of 1975 has the buying power of $2,530.64.
So basically, he could still buy his
So
Guild
basically,
guitar.
I could buy the guitar for the same price that I paid for it, adjusted for inflation.
Yes.
So when I say, my extremely expensive guitar was $450 in college, think of $2,500. That was what it really cost.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to know that you could still buy your stupid guitar.
For about what I paid for it.
About what you paid for it. That's the thing of people saying, oh, games are so expensive these days. Damn! Those Hero Quests and Quest for Glory were going for $60.
They were going for $60 in $90.
Right.
Okay, so go for that. Okay, $60 in 1989.
89.
Or make it 1990. Yeah, 1989.
Calculate.
So $60 that you paid for Heroes Quest. September, it wasn't out until December.
Didn't matter.
Is $150 today.
Right.
So basically $150 is a reasonable price to pay for a boxed game today.
And nobody pays that much.
Nope.
So therefore, how do you think these game companies are going to make any money?
And they don't. They go out of broke.
Right.
Most of them go broke.
Yeah, that's the truth. They have to really work to be able to stay alive in these days. Yes. Hopefully our game sales have long tails. That's what we sincerely hope for. We don't make
They don't much. Okay, so
we don't make any money from the Quest for Glory series.
Yeah.
We don't make any money from the Dr. Brain. We don't make any money from Shannara.
I got a few lessons in game economics when I started at Sierra. For one, when the company went public, they publicized. They had to document their profit and loss and how much they were paying in royalties and how much Roberta was making and so on. And I looked at the bottom line numbers and said the profit margin of this company is this amount. And I had talked to people there, and every single person there had taken about a 1/3 pay cut to work there. And it turned out their 1/3 pay cut, multiplied by the number of workers, etc., came out to almost exactly the profit margin of the company. So the amount by which we were underpaid was the reason the company was in business.
Yes, well.
So, we would have liked them to have paid us reasonable salaries, but if they had, they wouldn't be able to run the company.
And Gavin says he feels healthier now and would be up to an addition to voice act a character for the new game. Great. I'm trying to think of who we would cast you for a Feo's game. Well, I don't actually know how your voice sounds.
What about the familiar Jafafa?
Oh, that would be ideal. You could be Jafafa, the meerkat. The meerbat, rather. Meerbat familiar. That would be fun. So, yeah, we have a lot of different characters. Where is the? Let's see.
So we get sticker shock when we, go into a restaurant and come away spending $100. So what is $100 today? 2023, is that when we are? Back when we were at Sierra, let's say August of 89, would have been $40. So $40 for a meal is now $100 for a meal. And $40 was expensive for us then. $100 is expensive for us today. But you just kind of, it's, if things are 2.5 times as expensive, that's just inflation. That's just the world. But yeah, it kind of feels bad. My first, when I worked up in Vancouver during college, I paid, I think, $75 a month for my room in a house. And when I rented my first apartment, I think it was $175 a month to rent a apartment in L.A. Back in the early 80s, late 70s. Today, you look at 10 times that in rent, and well, it's a bit more than 2.5 times, but things do get more expensive over time, and you have to kind of adjust, and that's why you see a lot of elderly people just getting total sticker shock. Maybe young people as well.
All right.
Well, I've almost wasted enough. It's almost 4, but it's not 4:30 yet.
No, I know. Bring up the Dropbox again, and I just put the Christmas cards in.
Dropbox is possibly right here.
We are having a new Christmas card for this year, but
Did you put in that same directory?
Yes, I did. So you'll need to refresh and wait.
Nope.
It's in Dropbox. I just put it there.
Make
so
sure it's
you
in the
have
top
to,
level.
You have to download it. It'll take a bit for those things to download. Probably.
Okay, you put it directly into blog articles.
I put it into blog articles, yes. And then, and there's slides, so they aren't actually the first ones up here now.
Ah, why's that?
I don't know, because I made it today.
Oh,
sorry.
You made her sneeze.
I made the slides. There.
Why?
2 days ago for the
a presentation.
Christmas thing, a presentation. There they start there, but they're not.
No, the same
interesting.
picture we had.
No, I'm saying down here.
Oh, slide Tilly Tail.
Slide Ifeo Castle. That's
okay.
not what I wanted. Slide. Where are the Tilly's Tail? Why did they get those?
That's JPEG.
Really? Well, they will be JPEG. Huh. That's really interesting. Where are they now? I just put them there.
I don't think you got here. Let's go up to the web. Dropbox,
yeah,
blog articles. If you want Dropbox.com.
Okay.
Anniversary T-shirt.
Shared with me? I don't know. Should be in blog articles.
Maybe I can sort this.
Okay, there.
By
Slides up there. There
modified.
they are. Here. Up here, Corey. Up here. There. There is the
That's the one
Christmas.
you showed me.
No, but there's the Christmas card.
Oh, okay. We'll open this desktop.
Yeah, desktop. Here's our Christmas cards from over the years. There is the one from 2 years ago, I think it was. But I can't
Do it as a slideshow.
Do as a slideshow because they're not in order for whatever reason. So we'll have to come back and find them.
All right. So here's one, Feo decorating.
That's the one I wanted to show.
I'm actually using this as my desktop picture.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
So there we
Nope,
have it.
That didn't work.
That's right. You have your desktop right there. If you
Something went wrong. Go away.
So yes, there are our characters from Ifeo's game, and
which figure around 2030?
No, Corey. We got to get it out next year, despite the
Well,
distractions.
you should
next
probably
year.
start writing it then.
Yes, I know. I've got it partially written. I do need to write more. Oh, and we've got most of the art done. As I said, it would have been done last year, but
we got
we
a few
had
distractions.
all the art done for it last year, and then, well, JP wanted to do a little better. I mean, wanted to change it from Tilly's Tail.
Well, even for Tilly's Tail, we had a pandemic decide to show up, and then we had to suddenly move out of our house down to Oceanside.
Right. Tilly's Tale had its share of
Tilly and
distractions.
Friends. This is
There
a
it
fun
is.
one.
Yes.
This
This
is
is a cast of Tilly's Tale on a
we
holiday
have
card.
Maximilian, and we have Muella, and we have Fritz, and then we have Satori, and then up in the air, I can't tell, it's too small.
Oh, well, it's Rodrigo.
That's Rodrigo?
Uh-huh.
Up on a flying sled. I know Rodrigo to fly. I guess he's coming off that
He's
hilltop.
coming off that hilltop, yes.
Okay, and he's about to land on top of Maximilian.
No, I don't think so. Not with
Looks
that
like-
trajectory. See, he's angled.
he
He's
between
angled
them?
forward. Yes, he's
All right. He'll probably come in right behind because Tulio will continue to move forward.
right. Yes, if that were, yeah.
Good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is things
So
that
we
Lori
want
and JP
you-
have fun with.
Right. So we wish you a merry holiday season, and we hope you all have great. Oh, you still have to get all the achievements for Tilly's Tale.
Well, somebody should.
Yeah.
It might be possible.
They are possible. People have. So good luck. It isn't easy. It should have been a lot easier. It's a learning experience. Every game is.
So I want to
done
know whether
differently.
Spoonloafel's name is half English and half German, or if it should be Spoonlöffel.
Well, yeah, you'll have to.
Let's see. If I go to Leo and look up, I'm going to break his secret here.
Well, you could not show this page. You know, you don't have to share.
Enter
That.
your
Okay.
Löffel.
Ah,
Is it spelled EL? We found no
No
matches
matches, so
in French.
oh well.
Why is it doing French?
I don't know. Corey.
Back.
Uh-huh.
German.
Because you need to know. This is the type of thing that Corey does.
I could ask him, of course.
Yes, he could, but
Löffel.
okay. It's half English and half German.
Okay.
Used to go just by spoon, but tried getting that as a surname, so I just tacked the little at the end.
That's Löffel.
So
Löffel is you're a spoon.
he's a spoon.
He's a double spoon.
Yes. Ein Löffel.
I did spend a year in Germany in high school, but that doesn't mean I actually have any vocabulary left.
Yep. And I learned Latin in high school. That was my language.
Spanish was actually what I had been studying, but when I was exchange student in Germany, they did not offer Spanish. So
All right.
after 3 or 4 years of Spanish, I had to drop it.
Roadwork was asked, is the game fully stable now? I'm a software developer and know all about the bugs and very selfish about enjoying your game, so end up waiting for ages before playing
No
it.
game is ever
No.
fully stable.
No, there will always be somebody that finds a way that they found the bug that breaks the game. But it is as stable as we can get it. I think there is one possible bug
Yeah, the speedrunners on Quest for Glory 4 have been hitting escape when there's a death message up and breaking the death messages.
Okay. Well, I'm actually talking about Tilly's Tale now.
Tilly's Tale, yeah.
Tilly's Tale, I
Tilly's
think
Tale is fairly stable.
there's only like one or two. I mean, we fix any bugs that we can get because that's the advantage of having a digital-only game.
And
But-
we get it out there onto Steam, and then Silesia Games goes about doing the translation for Nintendo Switch, and they really test our games much more thoroughly than we do in the course of
Yes.
that. And when they come back with the bug fixes, we incorporate
We
that.
could incorporate it. So there is no telling if you could ever have that game, be un.
There were some major problems with the audio files originally,
Yes.
and they were gigantic.
Yeah.
And they were causing reliability problems. And Philip discovered this and started fixing the problem, and then we offered it to Silesia, and they said, "Oh, we already fixed that."
Yeah.
They just hadn't bothered telling us.
Yeah. Ooh, exciting Christmas present for me. When I did see the thing about the single pixel in the Discord, crazy.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in general, so yeah, the QAers at Sierra were very creative, and one of the things they like to do is, because effectively the way the early Sierra games were done was that you were tracing a path on a tablet and essentially connecting the dots and then using flood fill to put in things, and then there were 3 layers. So the first layer was the visual layer, and that's what players actually saw. The second layer was the priority level layer, and that was how far on the z-axis things were. So by default, as you moved up the screen, you also moved back and further into the background. But you could override that.
Well, you in theory moved backwards, but of course, this is a 2D world. It was not any Z.
Yeah, but it was 2.5D.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But they could do things like put a bush on the screen and put that at a high priority, and then when the character moves to that point on the screen, the system automatically moves him back in priority the farther up he goes. So therefore, it looks like he walks behind the bush.
Yeah, it's
The
sort
bush
of
that
like
includes
layers in Photoshop.
So anyway, that's the priority map. And the third one was the control map. And that's what determined where you could walk. And it also, so anything that was black was walkable. Anything that was white was blocked. And there were 14 other colors available that were used for things like when you step in front of a door, the door automatically opens.
To trigger. It was trigger.
It was a trigger. But what would happen because of the flood fill is every once in a while something would leak through. And so there would be a couple black pixels in a place that allowed somebody to break through and walk on the ceiling and stuff like that. So a lot of the early games had problems like that. And the QAers did their best to find them and found most of them.
I remember one game jam, I had a bug I turned into a silly scene. I had a door that didn't want to work right, so I had it attack the player instead if they got too close. That's a creative way of handling a situation.
There's a whole long article on why it's difficult to make a video game, and they talk just about doors and all the things you have to do with the doors.
Oh, yeah.
If you open it, you have to have the character move out of the way so the door doesn't hit them as they're opening it, and is it locked? How do you what's its state? How do you tell if it's locked or not? Do you need a special key for it? And they had about 100 different states just for a simple door.
And that's a door, and you have to multiply that by
every object in the game.
Yes. So it's never easy, and you really, as a programmer, as a designer, you have to think about even the simplest behaviors
and figure out where you have to have the details and where you can take shortcuts.
Walk on the ceiling, so leaked pixies turned you into Spider-Man pixel.
Yep.
No, it was pixies, clearly.
It was pixies.
Because how else would we be walking on the ceiling? And they were
No,
leaked.
come on. It was radioactive spiders.
Okay.
So you could completely break the game by walking into areas that you weren't supposed to be able to walk into.
Oh, yeah.
But in theory, the control maps made that kind of difficult to do.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point of them. But our games are incredibly complex, and they are so multi-layered with so many different things that, yeah, they are. They take a while to debug, and usually it's the players that are our biggest debuggers.
But early AGI and SCI games are effectively paint by numbers. They're all flood fills.
Yeah, that's what they visually look like to the programmer. Yeah, and don't forget the tea parties on the ceiling too. Well, at least you could have tea parties.
You
in
use
midair.
a lot of your tea. It spills.
No, you don't. Well, yeah, probably. But we had, think of Quest for Glory 5 and being in Erasmus's place.
Oh yeah.
The swimming around in Erasmus.
And that was basically just because the lead programmer managed to get a good simulation of swimming, and Laurie said, "Oh, we could use that for floating."
Yeah.
And flying.
So we turned off the gravity in Erasmus's place because we could do it. It did mean since
Quest for Glory 5 is more of a simulation than the previous games.
Okay. I wouldn't know if it was simulation, but I did want to go underwater.
It had physics.
It did have physics. It did have, Quest for Glory 4 had serious AI, fuzzy logic combat system, but Quest for Glory 5 had independently thinking behavior for the villains. So their villains' path were not preset. That's why you can do sneaking around those brigand camps were always a unique experience.
Yeah, so John Harris designed that, and I saw some of his design notes, and he had like cone for vision, being able to see
where the
things,
character could see,
and a arc for hearing. And so if you got behind the villain, you could get much closer than if you were to the side. Because if you were to the side, he'd hear you. If you were in front of him, he'd see you. And so that affected how well your sneaking could work.
So when we were young, and Star Wars was just coming out, we went to a convention about the time.
I was a working man by then.
Yeah, I know. Well, we were young when we were working, kiddo. We went to a convention, and it was just as they were, I think it was just as the last...
Star Wars, the third movie, which was Star Wars 6 now, but at the time it was...
the third movie came out, and they were saying, well, they had to do all this change and this jump in technology between the first three games. And movies. They were predicting... First movies, yes, right. And they were predicting that by the time they did the next movie in the series, they'd actually have a working starfighter. Well, we didn't quite get there, but it's just like that. Each time we made a game, the technology jumped, and we had to accommodate the way the technology and the style jumped. And it's been a race to keep up with what's going on.
So, talking about luck and divergent paths, I've often said that we got to see her at exactly the right time. Because if we had gotten there 5 years earlier, we would have been doing our games in 4-color AGI with 4-color CGA graphics, and they wouldn't have looked good.
And they wouldn't have played good.
And we would have had
boring, and
so little memory, we couldn't have done anything.
Right, we probably would have left the game industry.
And if we'd come in 5 years later, we never would have had the opportunity to come in as people with no game industry experience and make a game.
Right. So everybody has a degree of luck in their lives that affects the way what their future is going to be, and you have to really actually work at opportunities come all the time. Some of them are good and some of them aren't, but they really you got to take chances and do things occasionally. Yeah.
Like in the Depression era and into the 30s, they had the concept of grab the brass ring. So you would ride a carousel around, and some of the horses went up and down, other ones were stationary, and hanging from the outside around the carousel was a rod with a whole bunch of rings on it. And that if you were really daring, you would stand up on your horse or whatever and try to grab one of those rings for the
without killing yourself, which, of course, there's a reason why.
And back then, people did get injured trying that.
They do not do these things anymore.
So, anyway, but that expression has always been grab the brass ring, and that is you have to take some chances with your life. And if an opportunity presents itself, I mean, that's how we ended up at Sierra, is I'd been working in the game industry in the Bay Area. I took a huge...
the computer industry.
in the computer industry, non-game industry. And that opportunity came up, and we grabbed for the brass ring. And I took a huge pay cut doing it, and really took a chance moving away from selling our house that we were still trying to get paid off. And turns out if we'd kept that, that would be a $1.5 million or $2 million home now. Was not when we bought it. Really took a chance, and as a result, Quest for Glory and Castle Dr. Brain and so on. Was it the right thing to do? Who knows?
Our future would be different.
Yeah, I'd probably be wealthier, but less fulfilled if we had.
We wouldn't be here, and we are here now because we actually love you, and we love what we're doing.
Oh, here on Twitch.
Here on Twitch, yes, and here with you. Wishing you all a really happy holiday season, and I hope you had a great time, and
hope you had a wonderful Hanukkah,
and we'll have a good Yule.
And of course, we always celebrate, Thanksgiving, which comes right around my birthday.
Yes, so Thanksgiving, your birthday,
my birthday, then Lori's birthday comes up, and
Yule,
then Yule, and then Christmas. So there's infinite holidays right now.
Yeah.
In school, it was always awful because then came the month of January, and was absolutely nothing.
No, that was the dead period. It was the worst month of the entire year because there was no such thing as President's Day or Martin Luther King's Day did not exist, and so there was no holiday.
But Valentine's Day Day came up mid-February.
Right, finally, that was the relief.
And it was mostly embarrassing to kids. And there wasn't much in March because there's St. Patrick's Day, but that wasn't celebrated
a holiday, so
the way it is now.
Spring was always the dull times.
Yep.
Yes.
So January, February, March, terrible times of year.
Yes. Roadworks says.
And then came Easter, and all was good again.
Yes, because we got spring break. Yeah.
And candy.
I'm down for the 1984 vision of a working starfighter. Yep, I was down for that too. I thought that'd be great. And I'm still shocked at how good even the EGA games look. They do look very good. And they really are bright and colorful and nice. And Balzar said, timing can be everything. Exactly. And the world is all the richer for your games. Thank you.
So it's The Last Starfighter.
Okay.
That was an interesting movie.
It's actually not a bad movie.
Yeah. So
that's another one could go on your list of maybe something to watch if you have nothing better to do. It's actually an interesting movie.
The Last Starfighter. But what did their starfighters look like? Images.
I don't know. Because they look like that.
This one?
Huh? Starfighter, I guess.
There's a Starfighter.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty cool one.
Any rate.
Filmed Nick Castle.
Okay, so any rate, I wouldn't mind a 1984 wireframe
my hat
Cobra
turned black.
from Aline. Oh, you sure did.
Or at least navy.
Yeah, well, to go with your shirt.
Yeah.
The other half of your shirt. Okay, so any rate.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everybody. We will have another live stream in 2 weeks.
On the 30th.
And that will be a
December 30th, and that's on a Saturday. And it will not be extended length because I have raids on Saturday nights.
Okay, fine. And I want the Commander Keen ship. Yeah, we would have written science fiction games if we'd ever gotten the chance to, because we came from a science fiction and
But
fantasy
mostly we came from D&D.
Tolkien. Yeah, we came from a strong fantasy element, but we did read D&D. So at any rate, thank you for an enjoyable stream. Thank you for being here.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Have a happy holiday time. Make sure you
happy holiday.
And you enjoy yourself. Happy holiday, everybody. Peace, love, and light to all.
Snow.
No, there's that other one that I can't remember the notes. All right, we can remember the words, though. Snow, 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 snow. Anyway, bye-bye. Take you later.
Snow. Something like that, but probably not.
Farewell and glorious solstice to us all.
We didn't even mention the solstice.
I did.
Winter solstice, the shortest day of the year coming up.
Right. So celebrate the return of the light.
Yes.
Whether you're, and that works fine for Hanukkah and it works fine for Kwanzaa. Not so much Kwanzaa, but
Diwali.
Diwali is the festival of light. So have some festival.
Winter, you lucky people. Is it summer where you are, Roadworks?
Yeah. Yes, we're lucky. Well,
down in the southern half.
Yes, but we do have, plastic snowmen for our Santa snowmen. So yeah, we don't
get any
upside down land. Yay!
We do want to come down, visit there sometime.
Anyway,
we had a lot of developers in Australia and New Zealand on Hero U.
We're supposed to be concluding our way.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we will make it there someday, maybe.
Oz, the wonderful land of Oz.
Yay! Ta-ta!